They didn't, probably don't have the little name tags.
No, they're all over the place.
It's not like you can see them.
Okey doke, today's date is January the 15th, 2020. The time now is 5 p.m. This is a special meeting. Those of you that were following along, this is a continuation from last week's meeting on Tuesday. We're just continuing with a couple of other items for presentation and possible action. At this time, I would like to call the meeting to order and establish that we do have a quorum with all members of council being present. At this time, I would like to hand this over to Ms. Zayas very quickly for the pledge and the prayer.
Yes, sir. Will everyone please stand for the pledge? Oh, I'm sorry, 1 second.
That's okay, just
we
real
need
quick,
to call
we'll
the
call
EDC to order as well.
EDC meeting to order. We do have a full quorum with all members present, and the meeting was posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act.
Yes, Mr. President, it was posted at 5:10 p.m. on January 10th, 2020, in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act.
Thank you. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please bow your heads for prayer. Loving Father, we thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for our health, and we thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work in our city. We pray for the agenda set before us today, and we ask that every decision we make would benefit those who live and work in our beloved city of Edinburg. In your most blessed name we pray. Amen. Amen. You may be seated.
Okay, up next, we have the certification of public notice. Mr. Rios, was the meeting posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act?
Yes, Mayor. The meeting was posted in accordance to the Texas Meeting Act on January the 10th at 5:10 p.m.
Thank you very much, sir. You had already covered that, right? Okay. I am going to move on to public comments. Now, because of the changes in state law, we have to knock that out before we get it into any action items. So at this time, we do have some people that are signed up for public comments. I want to call up Ms. Eva Torres and Desiree Mendez in support of the arts. This is public comments. Okay.
Hello. Is the mic working? Yes, it is. I think I need to get closer, but I'm short, so. Okay, so we want to welcome you. Obviously, here we have our boards here with us. We are representing the Library Advisory Board for the City of Edinburg and the Cultural Arts Board for the City of Edinburg. I'm Desiree Mendez-Calzanson, and this is Dr. Torres, Eva Torres.
Good evening. How are you all?
Good.
So we're here in support of the South Texas Center for Arts, Culture, and Innovation. And some of you, just in case you don't remember, just down right across the street here is the Sam Houston building. That's the site that we're looking at. So as many of you know, that we've been very busy in the cultural arts and at the library providing services for our constituents. But in the 2010 Downtown Master Plan, it talked about culture activity and it talked about educational in the master plan to revitalize the downtown area in Edinburg. So now we're just missing a location. So we're really would like to consider supporting the site of the Sam Houston building to be our future site of our Cultural Arts and Innovation Center.
Thank you. And yes, Desiree, our esteemed mayor, our city council, we are here on behalf of our boards to ask for your support. This is a request that has been pending since 2007. It had been brought up. Our Edinburg residents are really striving to see a place, a venue where they can actually come in and showcase their artistry. The creative artistry that is part of the fabric of Edinburg is amazing. We have local musicians, we have talented artists, we have dancers, we have just a variety of beautiful venues out there that we can use. And the building that is right across the street from here, it's a location. It's a location that's a beloved location to many of our Edinburgh citizens. It is a location that housed the Sam Houston Elementary building, and it's a location that many of you, I see some of y'all smiling, I see many of you all, many of our citizens, prominent citizens, are very interested in bringing that area back to life. It would provide a perfect venue for people to showcase everything that they have that is the talent of Edinburg, the gateway city and the South Texas cultural capital of the world. And we don't have a place to showcase this. We would ask for your support in making that actual location a place, a venue, where we can extend the corridor that already begins right here. It moves on over, and we can extend it all the way in front of our brand new city hall, all the way to our museum. It would make a revitalization of downtown Edinburgh possible. Let's bring our downtown back to life with the vibrant vitality that is part of the culture of this community.
And we also don't want you to just put it in a box and say, well, it's only for Edinburgh. We want it to consider it to be more regional. And just when we look at Edinburgh and McAllen in this area, we look at the growth of our diversity as far as population. I mean, Edinburgh now houses the Filipino Festival. We also house the Indian Festival as well. So there's more than just our rich Hispanic culture. Could we, expand this into a regional cultural area, and can Edinburgh house it? Absolutely. So, do you want
Absolutely. It can house it, and it can house much more than that, because that building and bringing in those artists and other people will stimulate the economic growth of this community. We envision the building not only as a showcase for talented artists and others to show what they do, but we also see it as an innovative, creative workforce. We can offer lessons in pottery, we can offer lessons in art and dance and graphic arts. There's so many possibilities, there's so many certifications, culinary arts, even extending it to Microsoft Word and all of the different spreadsheets and different accounting and resume building. apps that are out there, we can educate our citizens and give them something that can be very life-supporting and very, very different and new for this community. That economic impact can extend throughout this area, and it will stimulate growth. I envision coffee shops, I envision so many different things sprouting up in those areas. There have been local businesses and people, citizens that have expressed interest in maybe beginning enterprises and businesses along that corridor. So why not give it a try? We have a location. We have a location. It's there. It's already City of Edinburg property. Let's make it come to life.
So we do want to revisit, there was a $2 million commitment that we had talked about in August in reference to the EDC. The EDC board had talked about committing $2 million to the project, and we want to revisit that. We want to make sure that you understand that it's important to us and a lot of citizens of Edinburg, and we'd like for you to make it a priority project this year.
We also would like to request that you give us an opportunity for a formal presentation, a workshop, so that we can share with you more of our vision, so we can share with you more of what we have in terms of the support, the ideas, and the many possibilities, the beautiful positive possibilities that we have already in store that we've been working on for so long.
And I do want to mention, going back to the $2 million, very important, very important, that it can be a match. There's an EDA grant opportunity that Edinburg was looking at. It is a one-to-one match. So we would, ask for the $2 million for a match, and then the federal government would provide the other $2 million. So we are looking at a potential grant, but we do need the support of the city in order for this to happen.
So please, we ask for your assistance, and we thank you so much for your time and for listening to us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to add on that so that the EDC board and the council knows what we were working on previously. We had talked about a resource building for some type of job training. So after discussing that for several months, the people that were most organized was our Cultural Arts Board and our Library Board. So they brought us this idea that they've been pushing, like they said, since 2007. I've gone to most of their fundraisers. The last one was over at the DHR Conference Center, where they've been trying to raise money. They have a general idea of what they want. I know, Javier, you were also instrumental in working with us with the school district to swap that Sam Houston building, which we finally acquired from you guys at the school district. So I just want to fill everybody in so nobody gets confused. Number one, we had looked at the old EDC building. They came back with some estimates that were pretty pricey. The second thing we looked at was the old library building right by La Olla. They looked at that. They were going to have to start it from scratch. Since they had already done a lot of homework and a lot of research, I had asked the previous city manager and administration to please look if we could legally use the 2.1 million to do a joint project with them. And they sold us on a lot of good ideas. We were talking more traditional job training. Maybe we were looking at medical assistance, different things that we can do in there, maybe some computer skills. But they were able to elaborate and said we can still use this for job training in the arts, and they have all the great ideas. So I just want the EDC board and the council to please consider this idea. Like I said, they're very, very organized, and they won't have any trouble giving a presentation on what they absolutely sold me on, and I do support them and what they're doing 100%. So I'm hoping that we could keep that 2.1 million allocated for them. We did earmark after we saw how organized that they were, and we really weren't able to put a plan together previously to really define what this building was going to use for, but they know exactly what they want, and I appreciate you guys coming up here today. So I guess up next, we're going to cover, the only thing pending was the resource center.
Mayor, we have two things, the bicentennial, lighting on Bicentennial Park, just to give you a quick update. This shouldn't take very long. And Also, El Tule, we do have Milnet here, so yesterday the EDC board elected to make a few changes and modifications, so we'd like to be able to bring that up to the city council so everybody's on the same page. Of course, at your all's discretion. And also, finally, we do have discussion on the resource center.
Okay, so up next, we have the finishing of the El Tule.
Milnet?
Just in a nutshell, if you guys can shorten your presentation, because we already heard a lot of this, and I'm sure a lot of it was discussed yesterday. So
Yes.
just pretty much,
Yes, I'm Rudy Molina with Milnet Architectural Services. Ramon Villalobos is handing out the update from what we discussed yesterday. So, and then Mr. Garza's here to help us out as we go. We've updated the plans based on the discussion we had on yesterday's presentation. And since the joint EDC and City Council saw it, well, for the City Council, it's changed a little bit more than from the one that saw it yesterday. Raymond's going to go ahead and present it.
Good afternoon, directors. So based on yesterday's meeting, we went ahead and updated the site plan. The only change that was done to the site plan, as per yesterday's discussion, was just the entrance on the east and the west sides. They were just moved further south. That way they were a little farther from Samano Street. As you can see on the south side, you have the east side entrance and then the west side entrance. So they were just moved further south. That's the only thing that was changed on the site plan. Still have the 185 parking spots as requested. Any questions on the site plan layout?
council, at this time, anybody from the city council, any questions?
I have one.
Mr. Enriquez?
So the distance from Sprague to the entrance, is that more or less halfway between Seminole and Sprague?
The distance from Sprague to the first entrance
Right,
is approximately 130 feet.
130 feet? And then from Seminole to the entrance?
That distance I don't have at the moment.
Okay. Because it's 300? Okay, thank you.
Any questions on the EDC site, gentlemen?
I just want to let the city side know that we had asked the architect to move the parking areas this way. That way the people will not be cutting across the parking lot on Seminole, making it a safety hazard to our kids and our parents. So that's the reason we moved it down a little bit further, just as an FYI.
Okay. We need a motion on that?
No.
Okay, moving on to the floor plan. There was, based on yesterday's conversations and discussions, we went ahead and added 2 additional feet to the entrance area, which is the administration area. So that's going to give you a wider corridor, 7 feet on one side, and on the opposite side, you'll have 10 feet. So it gives you more space for egress and also for the entrance. We went ahead and added in 2 double doors as far as for exterior access on the courts 2 and 3. And those are connected to a sidewalk, and it's connected to the rest of the parking lot. So those can be used primarily as an exit.
Is that it?
Yes, is there any questions on the floor plan?
Council, any questions from the Edinburg City Council? If not, on the city side, thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Looking at the site plan, yeah, on the site plan that you have, the entrance or the ingress and egress from the parking lot on, I want to say this is on the north side. What is the distance from Veterans to that entrance? Because it looks too close to the intersection. What's the city minimum? Y'all know?
No, we need to check.
Well, we can double check.
Okay.
Yeah, but
because
you're talking about the northwest.
I just see a problem there with people coming in and coming out, especially right at that entrance on both sides.
On both sides?
Yeah. So we might want to either move them in further or maybe eliminate those two entrances and just make one in the middle. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely look into that.
I have a question on the EDC side, Mr. President. I know last time we told you guys, let's put some wooden floors on that. Is a wooden floor still part of the design?
Yes, it's all wood flooring on your main open area, which is all three gymnasiums.
And I think the budget that you have in your handout has the updated amount.
My only advice on that, Mr. Coach Garcia, is make sure your budget, it's 10,000 a court to refinish every year,
Yes, sir.
just for supplies. That's not labor, it's just supplies.
Right.
So make sure you allocate that money in your budget. And you can rotate it every 2 years. But
Yes. I think every 2 years would be pretty good. Yes, sir.
Are these the final numbers? Everything finalized?
For the DD set, yes, but I think Gilbert had asked some questions on mechanical, and Raymond has updated me since then, and we have met with them, and the tonnages and all that are there and the numbers have been incorporated.
Okay, good.
Okay, Richard, just for the record, we don't need action on this.
No, sir.
They're just going to proceed. Does the EDC need to take action?
Mr. Vela, this is an action item today to let them proceed. Okay. So no action. Okay, thank you.
So my understanding was we needed the updated costs because they didn't have the cost yesterday. So they were supposed to go make these changes, which they've done today. So I think it could be an action item for them to approve it,
it is an action item.
right?
Yes.
We're not within the budget, then yes, we do need to. Safety sake, then yes, let's get it done.
I like that.
Before we make a motion,
Hold on. Are you speaking on the city side or the EDC side?
the EDC side.
Okay.
Go ahead. Do you have a discussion?
Okay. My question has to do with the site costs, okay? Because those site costs that you have, is that what the industry costs are, or is it the cost that the city gave you to do the work? Because it was my understanding that the city was going to take on this project.
No, this is the industry cost.
Okay.
It's not the in-house. If the city were to do it in-house, that is not the cost.
Okay, good.
Yes.
And Mr. Hinojosa, just to let you know, my concern at yesterday's meeting was when it was brought up that the city was going to do the parking lot. We're not in the business of doing parking lots. It's a lot different to do a parking lot than it is to pave a straightaway street. And so I would hate for, one, to burden our staff with this type of work versus going out and getting it through the competitive bid process, you know. So one of my recommendations is if we're going to do the project, you do it turnkey, and that'll eliminate a lot of issues with the contractor and the site, which is us, who's doing what, whose scope of work includes what. I mean, you just create a lot of problems that way.
I agree.
So just, I think it's only prudent for us as elected officials to really just send it out as competitive bid for the whole entire project turnkey. So that's my recommendation to the EDC board.
Any other discussion on the EDC board?
I just have a question. If they're going to do the changes on the entrances, that might affect the total cost of construction.
It shouldn't. You're just moving them up.
So it might be lower.
Yeah, it might be lower.
Yeah, because instead of 2 entrances, it might just be 1. Okay.
Okay, go ahead and entertain a motion on the EDC side.
I move to approve the preliminary budget of $5,382,500, including the site costs.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Thank
Chair
you.
Ramirez?
Thank you. Thank you, Rudy. Yes, Mr. President. The next we have SDI Engineering giving a quick 2-minute update on the bicentennial lighting. A quick 30-second update. No.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, board members, EDC board members, Isael Posadas with SDI Engineering. At the last meeting a week ago, I had a presentation. I'll pull it up again. We didn't get to finish that discussion, but I think we ended on the part where we talked about the North Park, where we had switched to a dog park and the scope had changed. This is just to give you a brief update. We're looking at the board had previously approved $390,000 for the splash pad, which is basically a buy board direct purchase. This is solely for the purchasing and installation for the splash pad. This is at North Park, the one off of Rogers and Expressway, the southwest corner. This kind of gives you an example. We actually, since last week, we've since met with the contractor or the splash pad manufacturer, and this is a sample of what they're doing over at Bicentennial Park. The scope at Bicentennial Park would be similar to this one, except for the colors. We still haven't gone through the color selection. So that was just an example of what they had there. We're still within budget on the $360,000. We may have some savings. We're reviewing the payment and performance bond requirements, especially since they're looking at possibly having maybe 1 or only 2 payments, and they're almost a self installer. So they actually manufacture and have their own installers for all of it. So we may have an opportunity to save some money, but we're going to be discussing what all requirements the EDC would have for them on that. But this is the max. So any questions on the North Park and some of the changes that we had there? We are still, like I said, within budget. That was approved by the board. The other project is Bicentennial Park, the lighting improvements. This is located on the southeast corner of Jackson and on Jackson Road and Sprague. This is the 3 ball fields or softball fields. We're putting in a total of 12 lights, the playing lights, sports field lighting, and all the electrical. This is a picture of what they look like now. After plenty of discussions with the staff, Mr. Garza and some of his staff members, they're not very reliable. They've had a lot of issues with them, so of course they welcome the improvement. This is actually the electrical box that the current lighting system relies upon. We're looking at changing it all out. This is a little more detail. It was in serious need of replacement. So part of the budget and part of the project budget included changing all this out completely. Now this does not have area lighting as part of it. It's just the sports field lighting, but we are looking at including in the panels enough spaces for the future if there ever was going to be lights added, additional circuits. So far, the budget that was approved by the board, $433,000. Based on updated costs, we're looking at a savings of about $37,000. Musco is to begin construction. We're actually, this got a little updated. February 3rd is when they expect to have all 12 lights on site. And soon, but by then, by February 3rd, the electrical contractor has to be ready and prepped with the conduit, the controllers, all the wiring that goes to these before they come in. Also, the demolition of the existing lights. We've opted we've opted to have the current lights completely removed. They're about 10 to 12 foot deep. Those are going to be completely removed out of the ground and refilled. So that in the future, there's no issues if there's ever anything. We didn't want to just cut them off and pull them off. We're actually taking them completely down. We thought that was the better of the two. So far, like I said, a savings of $37,000. I think that's just a picture of the playscape for the North Park, but it's out of sequence.
Can you go back to the plan, the aerial of where right there?
Yeah.
So in the to make this a complete lighting package for that whole area, because I've had a lot of games there. I've participated in games. I've coached games there. I've gone to go see games there, and the lighting around the concession area is very, very dark. But if you look at those 4 light poles going across, if we can put in floodlights facing the concession stand now versus doing it later, I think it would better serve our citizens and our players and our coaches and our staff in those areas. Is that something that can be looked into?
We didn't have it in the budget, but one thing that we did have, Mr. Garza, Parks Director, at our kickoff meeting, which actually just occurred this week, once we had all the prices and everything finalized, one thing that he did ask for is additional lighting over by the skate park, over off to the west. What the contractor is looking at doing is installing conduit. Since they're already trenching a lot of this area and redoing the trenching, is having conduit installed, so it's just a matter of pulling wire through it if we ever were to get a budget to add lights. But we have not designed the lights. The only lights that were included in the scope were just the sports field.
Right, but where was the conduit going to end? Where are you, from the panel to where were you going to put the conduit?
The panel is right here. This is where the panel is going. They're going to be running new conduit, in some cases extending conduit to these lights here. And then from here, since they've got the trencher, just extending some additional. Actually, this is an earlier picture. This light right here that I'm pointing at, if it's coming out there, is probably, it's going to be in the back, right over here.
Because we had talked about that at the last meeting, is to make sure we don't have any dark spots in the outfield.
Correct. That's why there was a photometric analysis done by the sports lighting people, and they recommended that it be placed out here in the back area. So right. Since we're running, and the contractor's aware of that, but it just didn't make it onto the slide. But when he runs the new conduit, they can add a spare conduit so that it can be run easily to some other areas. So we could still take advantage of all the trenching they're going to do and have some conduit installed and prepped and marked out there in case we're able to get a budget for installing new lights. Again, the boxes will be big enough that we have spare circuits. So it's just a matter of running wire to a new area where you can control off the panel, electrical panel.
Coach.
Yeah, this question for the EDC. I think we had discussed, like the gentleman said, to move some of the lighting to cover the outfield, because you can see there's no outfield lighting on these fields, and like Gilbert says, when you're there, it's a lot of dark spots. But we also had discussed that there was nothing covering the parking areas, and I think Gilbert had brought up possibly using the same pole and attaching some lights to point towards the parking.
I know I brought up that this meeting,
Yeah.
that
Yes, sir.
the light posts here and just turn one the opposite
backside.
way. Add an extra one to get to the parking lot area.
Yeah, we had asked if we could look at some direction or numbers on that. Anybody recall?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
And
Those can be, and that's what I was saying, the floodlights
That's right.
attached
They
to
can
the
double-
actual
yeah,
pole.
You can
double
mount
that
those to
scene.
the poles, correct.
Right.
And we'll have, like
And
I
that's-
said, spare conduit, so if there is funding for it, that can be done. Unless you choose to, we can have our engineer look at what it would
Well-
take to light the whole area.
Well, my question to Mr. Garza was, do you have money budgeted to add lighting in those areas where the concession stands are and at the skate park?
We don't have any money budgeted. We didn't budget for this year, but we can definitely use the parkland dedication fund for that. and cover some
Say
of
that again?
We can use some of the parkland dedication
Okay.
fund to cover that. And on behalf of the citizens, when we told them about this, we have a lot of thousands of kids that play softball and baseball. They're really excited about this. We thank you because this is going to be a great thing for the kids there. They had numerous complaints last year about the lighting. It was always down. It was too dark. It's a safety hazard. So it's going to be a great thing for Edinburg. Also, like Mr. Posada has said, I've also visited at night the skate park. We have a lot of individuals that use the skate park, and some of the even professional skateboarders. And one of the main complaints was lighting. It's real dark out there. It's not very safe. So if we can add some conduit there, and then later on with the parkland dedication, add some lights there as well, it'll be a real good blessing for the kids there too.
Well, the only reason I'm saying we do it now because we're working there now.
Yes, sir.
Versus doing it the future. I mean, if we're there, let's do it right?
Okay.
I mean, why come back a year from now and I get gutted again?
Yes.
It wouldn't make any sense.
I agree on this one, Coach. If you can see if you can find some of the money so that we can light up the skateboard park area,
Yes.
because there is a lot of kids out there at night. As a matter of fact, there's more kids that openly go use that skateboard park than playing baseball, because at a certain hour they close it and they lock it up.
Exactly. Like right now, there's no baseball, but there's still kids out there play daily and nightly as well. Even in the summer, it could be 100 degrees and there's kids out there. So it's a blessing that it's going to happen. Yes.
So what would you do? You'd bring us an estimate?
What we would recommend is that this be under the EDC. If the city's gonna fund it, either some sort of transfer of funds or something. But I think right now we are at an advantage because the Musco, who has their own electrician, and that's typically how they do it. They bring their electrician from out of town. We were able to save because they're going to be using the same electrician that our contractor is using. So we're able to realize some savings from Musco. We've got actually like a $6,000 or $7,000 per set savings on these lights. So we are going to have the same contractor that's working for Musco working for the EDC through the Synergy, which is a contractor. So I think it would behoove us to have it under that contract or add it to their scope, the additional lighting. And we could get a photometric analysis done for the entire park site, which wasn't in their scope, but we can ask our MEP to do that just to determine what areas or how much more lighting you would need based on the foot candles that we'd want for a park like this. But it is not just the area lighting, but it is like the parking area. I mean, this is a very dark park. I mean, all around. Not just the skate park, not just the area. There's a lot of dark spots, but also in the parking and the drive. So it is going to be an extensive undertaking.
My thing is, when you have the lights on all three, the parking lot's going to be lit.
That's right.
I mean, that's just, it's going to happen, right? My concern is, like Coach said, the skate park and between the fields, because that's where a lot of the players and the kids play. You know, when their sibling is playing on the field, we have kids running around the whole entire ball field. And if there's no lighting there, you know, possibility for injuries, getting hurt, whatever. So my concern is that whole area between the parking lot and the fields, for that area to be lighted for the spectators and the players and the coaches. At least that's my recommendation.
So what are my suggestions from council, and I'll start off to the right with Mr. White. What are your recommendations?
Can you go back to the picture where the no light?
Okay.
So I guess, get to everybody, from what I understand, we're trying to talk about on some of this. This is obviously looking at the middle part?
Correct.
gotta be
This
the
one
middle
is the
part.
middle part. I mean, it's just a
But so-
sample of one of them.
Yeah, that's fine. But if you look at the lights over here to the right, we don't have any back shining lights right now. You go to a football stadium, the high school football stadium and all those, you've got that back shining right. Are we going to, is that included in this, or is that something, because you don't need to run extra conduit because we're already there.
No, the location of these lights is gonna be different, the new lights. We're
Yeah,
not
but-
putting them in the same spot.
But right now, these lights are only set to shine on the field.
Correct.
And you go to football games, or you go to some of the other, I think the school district has it too. You get that light that'll shine to the, it's only like one bulb or one panel, something small. Shine it backlights the backside.
There is an opportunity, like I said, to mount new lights onto these and increase, for instance, the,
Yeah, but that's what I think we should be doing
Sure,
now.
yes.
Because it doesn't require a new conduit or anything, because conduit's already, that's all gonna be the same. I can understand the conduit going
Correct.
to the skate park, or
Correct.
actually extra poles, more. This one right here, just at least a little
it would only
fix
need,
would be a backside light.
it would only need the addition of the new light fixture itself and the mounting of the new light fixture, not conduit for those pole-mounted new lights.
At
on
minimum,
these
I'd
poles.
like to see that, Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Salinas?
No, I think it's good, because we can light it up. It is a real dark park. We drive there all the time.
It's my park.
Yeah. And there is a lot of black space, like where the playscape is on the further south and stuff like that. It's super dark, but so as much lighting as we can get, the more the better.
Mr. Enriquez?
My suggestion again is between the parking lot and the fields, the three fields in that area, the skate park. And I think I agree with Chief White that putting the floodlight on the back of the pole would definitely illuminate that area a lot, especially if you use the four going across. I think you would definitely light it up. You might have to add a couple of more maybe to the building or so, but I mean that's minimal if that were to be the case.
Johnny?
Honestly, I think we need to add more lighting on the back walkway because we're focusing just on the fields, but the fields are not used throughout the whole year, and we got a lot of people using the park a lot more walking, and so you have a lot of sidewalk in the back that's being very dark, and people that park back here. So somehow we need to get lighting back here more, because I mean I live in that area too, and so if nobody's practicing softball or playing softball, but you still got a lot of people that are back here walking their dogs and things like that, and it's very dark back there.
The lights aren't on if there isn't a game.
Correct. And those lights are not on if there's not a game. So it's a dark park.
Okay, Coach, you heard the direction, light it up for the cheapest amount of money, the whole thing.
Hey, that was easy. Why didn't you do that 10 minutes ago?
Okay, well, we're gonna need some action on this, Richard, for an interlocal agreement of some sort?
No, we can bring that
No?
back.
Okay, no action on the city side?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
They got direction. No action on the EDC side.
lastly, what's,
Yes, Mayor and Mr. President. Lastly, we have discussions regarding the resource center that we're planning, along with the bond money, to see what we can do with that. I do recommend that we go into executive session for that, since we are going to be discussing some property. And there was also some discussion by the EDC Board of Directors yesterday in executive session regarding that, so we'd love to bring you all up to speed.
just real quick, I think I'm gonna, Javier's gonna be leaving, I'm gonna be taking off early. If you don't mind, if you guys could come up for the presentation, or who's gonna present this, Richard?
EDC side.
Did you just want to give a synopsis then to the, that way that, okay, you want to, no, I'm just saying, because we're gonna, back there, we're gonna go in longer, and we're gonna,
Yeah, so essentially, we do have that $2.2 million for, that was part of the bond approved. And so we need direction, we would like to have direction on that. I wanted to update you as to what what some of the direction and ideas are from the Board of Directors. But once again, Mayor, I'd like to discuss that in executive session, because there was some attorney-client stuff that we were consulting with bond counsel with, et cetera, so.
okay. Anything else, any action items we need, Richard?
No, sir.
Okay, if that's the case, on the City of Edinburg side, for the Edinburg City Council, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. The time now is 5:42 p.m. and we're going into executive session on the city side.
Can I entertain a motion to go into executive on the EDC side?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. EDC is going into executive, 5:43 p.m.
I know where
The records show that no action was taken in executive session. I'll entertain a motion from the Edinburg City Council to reconvene into the open.
So motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Just for the record, no action was taken. The time now is 6:11 p.m. I'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Go ahead and entertain a motion on the EDC side to reconvene.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. We're coming out. It's 6:12, and just for the record, Mr. Javier Salinas left at 6:10 p.m. and the current time is 6:12. No action. There was no action taken in executive on the EDC side.
On the city side? No action. Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into, we're done, to adjourn.
So moved.
I'm not used to getting out of here this early, Johnny. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 6:12 p.m.
Okay. Before we adjourn on the EDC side, Mr. Ramirez wants to...
Yeah, I just wanted to, I thank the board and I thank them again, the Edinburg Economic Development Corporation for the opportunity to serve. It's been an honor, and I want to extend that same thanks to the city council to the city council, and also the previous city council members that were here as well. It's a great opportunity. I'm blessed to have had your all's faith, and I look forward to seeing many great things come out of the city council and also this board. I wish you all much success. God bless you all.
Thank you, Ruben. I do want to add, we've gone out and we've gone on that search before, and I know that you guys are going to have a lot of fun on the EDC going out for a search. You just sometimes think that somebody from up north is going to save us, and at the end of the day, you're going to find out that it's very hard. How many applicants you have the last time, Gilbert? Like
We had
40?
30, 40, yeah.
30 or 40 applicants, so have fun digging into those 30 or 40 applications. But I do want to get a little plug here for Ruben. Those of you that don't know, we are #1 in the Valley in sales tax growth currently right now. We also have, we have Ruben was the president, International Business Growth Association. He's a Bronze Star veteran who served in Afghanistan. He's a University of Houston law degree graduate. He was a teacher. We had an educator here, Javier, that just left. Believe it or not, the man taught physics and chemistry. Not easy things. I think Omar might be able to pull that off. But international business major and minor in marketing management. Good luck with your next job, Ruben. On behalf of the mayor and the Edinburg City Council, we wish you the very best.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Mayor. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Can I get a motion to adjourn on the EDC side?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Meeting adjourned. It is 6:14 p.m. Thank you.
I don't see it.
Appreciate it.